So as you're, yeah, I'm so sorry. There's some technical issue. Just a moment. Okay, so we're really happy and proud that two of our Fujiwara students have been selected for the MEXT scholarship. And as you're aware, the Japan government scholarship is not easy to apply. There are so many students. Out of 500 students, only 20 get selected. So it's definitely a proud and happy moment for us. And we really would like to first, before starting the webinar, we all would like to congratulate and say omedetou gozaimasu to both of them. And I'm sure their experience, Sarthak San's and Madhura San's experience, is going to be very helpful to all other students, upcoming students who want to apply for the same. Everybody would love to go to Japan, work there, study there, isn't it? Isn't it, Mina-san? Hi. So now I will inform Madhura San and Sarthak San to continue the webinar. Dozo.
Madhurasan, dozo.
Hi. Thank you for the kind words, Sensei. Your support. I was really, really grateful for your support through the entirety of the process. Sensei was kind enough to write me a recommendation letter, which I think played a large role in demonstrating my interest in, in the Japanese culture, and it proved that I've had, taken the steps to familiarize myself with the process. So the MEXT scholarship is a Japanese government scholarship, and there are two ways to apply for it. One is the embassy track, where every country which has a bilateral relationship with Japan can apply to the Japanese embassies in their respective countries. And there's another, which is the university track. So the key difference between the university track and the embassy track is that for the embassy track, you don't need to apply to the university first. You need to apply to the embassy. And for the university track, the top students for every batch from the university get nominated to the Ministry of Education, Sports, Technology and Culture. And once you're nominated, then that's when you receive the scholarship. So I had applied for the embassy track. So another difference between the two tracks is that in the embassy track, first you're competing between students from your country, whereas from the university track, you're competing against students from all across the world. So I think that sets the two apart very distinctly. And I can only speak from personal experience about the embassy track application process. And for everyone's information, I applied as a research scholar. So that's after your graduation for your master's. So first you apply to the embassy with your research proposal. And then once you're selected, you apply to the university, and then you convert to a regular student, which is your master's degree student. So at this point, I will be leaving for Japan in just about a few days. I'll be leaving on the 4th of April. And as of now, I'm not a regular student, I'm a research student. So after I move to Japan, I'll spend the first 6 months acclimatizing with the environment there, and also learning the language at the university. I'm going to Osaka University. So they've been kind enough to enroll me in a language course there as well. And after that, I convert to a regular student, and I'll start my master's classes after that. So I can walk you through the embassy recommendation process. So it starts at any point. If anyone has a question, you can interrupt me, or we can move on to questions at a later stage, as Sensei would like to host the session. Like, I don't know the format for the session. So if you would like to, so I'll just walk you through the process, and if anyone has any questions, they can just ask me about that later. So so for the embassy track process, you need to, so I think it'll open up in a few days. It's not open yet, but it's going to soon open up. I think mid-April is when applications open, and you get a month to apply. So they'll upload the forms, and I think the old, last year's application process is still up. So if you are curious, you can just, Tanmaya Jadhav sir.
Yes, what are the requirements for documents to apply?
Okay, so if you go to the website, it's just Google in Embassy of Japan in India, and you'll be directed to the website. So once you go there, you just need to go to the title saying "Study in Japan," and then you find another subheading which says "Study Japanese Government Scholarships." And when you go to MEXT, you'll see that the preliminary. So you need different documents for every stage of your application. So I'll walk you
Okay.
through the stages first, and then we can talk about the documentation required.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
sorry to interrupt, Gakshitachi. I forgot to mention this. Can we keep a question answer round after her experience and after she gives all the information? I think that would be better, step by step.
Hi, Sensei.
Hi, Sensei.
Hi. So yeah. So once the applications open up, I think that should be pretty soon. I think the first week of April or by mid-April, the applications would open up. Then you just need to go to the website or download the preliminary application form that will state your educational qualifications. I think you need a minimum 65% in your graduation to apply for it. And so the preliminary application form basically states your qualification, your percentage, where you studied, just a general background of your work experience, etc. And if you have any, if you have your IELTS scores or GRE scores ready. IELTS and GRE is not compulsory, but I think one should keep it handy. I submitted it at a later stage, and in my preliminary application form, I mentioned that I will have my scores by June because I hadn't appeared for the exam by then. So it's completely all right to just say that in your preliminary form that you're going to be appearing for the exam soon, and you can have your you can submit your scores at a later stage in the application process. So the embassy track is quite a lengthy process because it starts sometime around April, May, and it ends the next year. So it's exhaustive process, and you need the patience to go through it, but it's absolutely worth it because in the end you do get a scholarship which is absolutely like fully funded, and they take care of you from the first stage to when you come back. So I mean, you gotta work hard, but it's a really nice like you in on the way you also like familiarize yourself with everyone at the embassy as well. So yeah, I'd completely recommend the embassy track over the university track. So yeah, so after that, after the preliminary application form, you also along with it, you need to submit your research proposal. I think this is where you this gives you the option to have an edge over everyone else, because this is what I think this has more weightage than everything else in your application, because this will be used at both the preliminary stage, it will be used in your interview, and it will also help you contact professors at the later stage. So I think you should spend the most amount of effort on this research proposal. And personally, what worked for me was that I used the research proposal to demonstrate both I demonstrate that I was aware of what kind of work is going on related to my field in Japan. So I'm going for a master's in economics there. So I picked out papers that had been going on in the recent past, and I use excerpts from it. And I also cited which university was doing what kind of work. So I think this is what helped me like stand apart from the rest, because even in my interview, I was asked about if I know what kind of work is going on. And I was able to say because I did my research, and I included everything in my research proposal as well. So it also like tells them that I'm not just going there because it shows that my interests are uh, lie in researching in Japan, which is very convincing for them, because a lot of people just apply and they don't know what's going on in Japan. So knowing what is going on, especially related to your field, really gives you a lot of added advantage in the application process. So be thorough about, and you should select a topic which is like going to contribute productively to both India and Japan. It's not just that you're going there. Uh, as I said before, it's a scholarship meant for like strengthening the bilateral ties between the two countries. So it should be on such a topic which helps both India and Japan. So sometimes people apply and they lose focus and they just talk about how it's going to help Japan, and people fail to mention how it's also going to help India. So you should always keep in mind that it should be something you're going there to, like productively contribute to both nations. So make sure that you're doing that while, um, you know, writing up your research proposal. And yeah, and also, knowing the culture. So once you're set with your research proposal, you submit it. And I think this year in the research students category, about 2,500 or 3,000 students had applied, and 120 get shortlisted for the written exam. So after your preliminary process is done, they'll send you an email. They'll also upload a list on the website, and you're supposed to go to Delhi for a written exam. And the written exam has one exam in English, where they test your language proficiency in both English, and there's another test which tests your language proficiency in Japanese. So the English proficiency scores are important because the courses that are mostly available for foreigners are going to be in English, and the Japanese proficiency scores help them decide if you can adjust to life easily in Japan or not. So by then I had some basic knowledge of Japanese by then, so that also helped me in my application process. So after the written exam, you have to have like a minimum score, especially for English, which helps you qualify for the interview. And at the interview stage, that's when they weigh in both your research proposal and your language scores and your interview. So in the interview, you basically ask questions such as, why did you choose this topic? Why do you want to study in Japan? Like that's because they believe that you must have like a specific reason for choosing the topic and for choosing to study in Japan, because and your interest should be wider than just your interest in anime or manga, because most people have failed to mention that since this is a scholarship, they want like productive outcomes out of your research. So, and even in my orientation happened just last week, and in my orientation they recommend. So as a MEXT scholar, you're allowed like 28 hours of part-time work, but they strongly recommended not to pursue it, because they said that the stipend is given to students so that they can undertake good quality research. So they keep reinforcing the fact that you're going there to contribute productively, and it should be quality work that benefits both nations. So you should always take every opportunity to express how it's going to be contributing to both nations. And I reinforced the same facts even during my interview. And I demonstrated that I have an interest in both, furthering the like the cultural ties between the two countries, and through my professional sphere, that I would like to work in Japan for a few years and, take that knowledge and bring it back to India, so that the ties get stronger. So you should always take every opportunity so that everyone knows, like in the application process, that this is where your interests lie and this is what you're going to be doing. So after the interview process, if you clear the interview round, you get a passing certificate, which you take and you apply to universities abroad, like in Japan. So um, so like if you've done your research in the first preliminary screening round, you'll know by then that you should be applying to these universities, because these universities are undertaking research which is aligned with your interests and aligned with what you want to do in Japan. So that should, because you only get about a month to email the professors and receive their results, like their whatever, if they want to have you as their student there or not. So basically you're seeking an acceptance into their labs so that you can undertake research with them. So since this is really like short time frame to, because professors at that point are also really busy, because it's holiday season there. It's around August, and that's when Obon Yasumi takes place in Japan. So they're usually not in office, and so you should really not waste any time and do your preparations beforehand, like in shortlisting which university and which professor you want to apply to, so that it takes place like smoothly for you. And once you have at least one LOA, which is a letter of acceptance from them, That's when you take the LOA and you submit it back to the embassy or in India. And if you have any LOA at all, which means your scholarship by then is like 100% secure. Like if you have an LOA, they're not gonna like deny you the scholarship. So once you have that, you submit that, and then you just wait for a couple of months while the embassy and the ministry and the university, figure out your documentation, and then they issue your passing certificate. Based on that, you apply for your visa, which the embassy takes care of. It takes just about a day to get your visa. They also provide your fare, like air tickets, and you're set to go to Japan. That's about it. That's the research student application procedure for the embassy recommended track. So, do you have any questions about this? Anyone at all? Yes, Sanjana ji. Sanjana Girish San.
Hi, yes. Thank you so much. Is it okay if I have a few questions? Because I have quite a bit to ask.
Yeah, absolutely all right. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question would be, do you need to already have written a research paper to apply for this?
Not at all. You don't need to have anything published beforehand. You can just, you should, but your work, so in the research proposal, there are three segments actually. The first segment is your past and present field of study, where you must show that you have, so what they're looking for is consistent work in the field. So suppose my like I was applying for a my research proposal had something to do with sovereign debt and like banking sectors. So I showed that I had previously worked in a economic research department of a bank and what research I had undertaken related to that field. Or if at all you have any experience which is related to what you want to study in Japan or research in Japan, you should demonstrate that because it's you need to prove that you've been consistent in your efforts up to this point as well. So even if you haven't published anything, but you need to have some sort of experience in that sphere.
Okay, you said there were three segments, right? What are those?
Yes. So first is your past and present field of study. Second is your research proposal, like the proposal itself. And the third is your research plan. So suppose like my research will take about 2.5 to 3 years. So I had to tell them at what point I will be doing what in Japan. So I created like a timetable of sorts and I just put it at the end.
Okay. So do you need to have any experience beforehand, like work experience before you apply?
I mean, ordinarily, so a lot of people who have received the scholarship with me this time, they don't have any full-time work experience, but they have interned before. So I think that helps quite a bit. See, this in the end,
So
this
is
is a
there like
competitive.
sorry, yeah.
No, because like in the end, this is a competitive like scholarship, right? So you need to have an added edge over the others, like something that sets you apart, like
So you would say
sort
it's
of.
better to have work experience?
It's better to have some sort of work experience that shows that you have been consistently doing or involved with the thing you are about to research.
Okay, so like some people have interned for only like a month or so. So how much would you recommend they intern for if they have interned?
No, even if that's if it's just about a month, that's completely all right.
Okay, got it. And
Yes.
what exactly was your research paper about? Like, is your research proposal about, if I may ask?
It was about sovereign debt spillovers into the banking sector.
Oh, okay. So that's what you're gonna research about when you go there, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Next question. What are your plans after studying there? Like, are you gonna work in a Japanese company there or come back?
So I think I will acquire some sort of work experience while I'm there, because first, it's easier to get a job in Japan if you're like studying at one of the like nicer universities in Japan. So you easily get like a good job with like a major think tank or like the premier institutions in your field. So if I get some work experience, it also gives me a good platform to like bounce around, if not in Japan, like to other countries as well. So that's what I plan on doing.
Okay, great. And do you happen to know how the job market is there for business students? Because I usually hear a lot about the popularity for IT students there, engineering students, but I don't really hear
Yes.
much for economics and business.
Okay, so majority of the people who got the scholarship this year were from the IT, like a lot of people in robotics, a lot of people in aerospace, a lot of people in
Yeah.
chemical and mechanical. So, but they do accept people for business, etc. as well, because I know someone who is going for business at Tsukuba, and so I think like the job market there is quite okay. I mean, they are accepting people, and I think there are good prospects as well. It also depends on which university you're going to study at in Japan. So if you're going from to like one of the imperial universities or some private university in Tokyo, then that's fine. The imperial universities are Todai, which is University of Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, which is the top three in the country in imperial universities. And there are a lot of private universities in Tokyo which are also really good, which is Waseda, Kyo, and all of that.
Okay, got it. Also, when you go and research there, does it have to be in Japanese and you have to publish it in Japanese or English?
Not at all. You can undertake so most professors in Japan, because they work with a lot of international bodies, like a lot of professors there work with the Asian Development Bank or the IMF. So they all undertake research already in English, because that also gives them scope to publish it in international journals as well. So mostly all research undertaken is in English. So it's not
Okay.
necessary that you have to undertake it, the research in Japan or Japanese.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, I just have a few more questions. I'm really sorry.
No, that's all right.
So can you apply to universities? So you can apply to universities after you apply to the MEXT, right? Or do you have to already have a university applied to beforehand?
So see, also every so every university has a lot of different graduate schools, right? So the every graduate school has their own specific procedure of application, because the university, I failed to apply to University of Tokyo because they had their application process alongside MEX's. So you're not getting a research, you're not going. So people who applied for eco, if they got selected, they would be going as a regular student, not a research student, because their application process for MEX students and their international course was integrated. So it's not just depending on the university, it also depends on your graduate school's application procedures and their requirements. So you need to be clear with all of these before you apply. And and every university has a separate process. So for some universities, you'll have to directly contact your professor. For some universities, for example, Osaka, you needed to contact the graduate school's administrative office, and they would contact the professor for you. So you just need to so suppose you've cleared your preliminary application process, like with your written exam and your interview and everything, you got your passing certificate. You take that passing certificate along with your whatever documents, and you first send an email to the graduate school's office, and then they'll tell you the process. So depending on that, or you either speak to the professor or you just apply through a portal. It's entirely depending on what they have prescribed for the app, or like MEX students.
Okay, so let's say that application process is not at the same time as MEX. So I can, if I get a passing certificate, I can just email the graduate school that, and then accordingly I can apply.
Yes. It really eases your entry, because the embassy itself is recommending you. So they have like separate like they have some concessions for MEX students.
Okay, got it. So how exactly did you apply and shortlist and contact your professors? Like, can you give me like a timeline? Because when I went and looked at the websites for colleges, it was a little confusing because there are so many pages open and I didn't know like what exactly to do first.
Okay, so once you pass the interview, the embassy itself sends you a list of colleges, and which have courses in English, etc. So
So you have to choose from that list only?
No, you can do your own research, but I thought it helped a lot. Also, I just looked at what, as I said before. So when I was preparing my research proposal, I was very thorough about what university is undertaking, what kind of research. So my options were anyway, like I had shortlisted my preferences even before the process had started, because while I was preparing, I noticed that research related to my field was concentrated in first University of Tokyo, second Osaka University, and third Kyoto. So, and once you start applying to, and like first you, once you start contacting professors, the embassy stipulates that you only contact 2 universities in one go. And if one rejects you, then you start applying to other colleges, because they don't want to like bombard professors with emails. Like suppose like I can, if it was up to me, I would like email everyone all at once, right? But the embassy
Yeah.
has yeah, it has a strict policy that you can only contact 2 professors in at one go, and if they reject, then you can apply to another one.
Okay, so you already had your preferences set. So you had Osaka also. And you, okay,
Yeah,
so
that
after
was
you
my second
applied,
preference.
and then okay, so you applied to the university, got the interview, and then you contacted the professor.
No. I applied to the embassy first. Interview was
Oh,
with the
okay.
embassy, and if I once I have my passing certificate, then I email the universities. And
Okay.
accordingly, so some universities will want to talk to you. Some universities would want to know more about you and what kind of work you've done. The professors will take the call about how they want to screen you, and
Okay,
depending on
okay. Got it. Got it. And then, did you take any JLPT exam before you applied, or did you have any certification?
actually no, but they do test you. Because by the time I had applied, I had only been studying for 6 months, and
Okay.
JLPT
Oh,
exam
wow.
happened uh, after the application had begun.
Okay. So you didn't take any GLPT exam when you applied?
No, by then I hadn't taken any.
Okay, okay. So did you, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you said you did, okay, so you said you did work experience. So you did not apply right after your
No,
bachelor.
I had a considerable amount of work experience actually. I had about 3 years of work ex.
Okay. Okay, so I'm still in college right now. My third year will get over soon. I've had a month of work experience in EY last year, and in 2 or 3 months in other startups. So, would you think it's fine for me to apply this year for MEXT?
Definitely.
Okay.
A lot of people who received the MEXT scholarship are still in college. Like, they're going in October because they're still studying.
Okay, okay then.
Yeah.
One last question I have. So, in your interview with the, for the embassy next thing, did you like what answers did you give for the questions they asked? Because I have a general idea of the questions, but I don't know exactly how I would answer them specifically. Because you mentioned, the specificity of the bilateral relations and all of that. So, you can tell me like relating to your research proposal, what you wanted to do. So, how
Actually,
you
I
could have
was so
answered that.
stressed then that I absolutely blanked out after, because I just vaguely remember the questions because I was discussing it with the other people who had taken the interview, and I was like, yeah, they had asked me something similar. So that's how I remember. But I made it a point to answer everything sincerely. And for your interview,
Okay.
so after your preliminary application form, once you start contacting the no, once you go for the written exam, you'll also have to submit another set of application forms. And in that, they have a bunch of questions that you have to answer. So whatever you answer there, you need to be sure to like actually be sincere then, because that's what comes up in the interview as well. And there's no way you can memorize it. And under stress, you tend to forget. So if you're sincere there, like similar questions come up in the interview. So you can just um, speak about whatever in the interview based on what you've put in the application form.
So, okay, I know I said last question, but I just want to ask you why you chose Japan to study in.
Uh, I mean, to be very honest, I had already been seeing that a lot of research was being undertaken related to my field. So every new paper, like every third paper I read about, was related to something that was being undertaken in Japan, which really piqued my interest. And this is something I also mentioned in my application form, that I had a consistent increase in like interest over a period of time because I was exposed to work that was being done there.
Okay, got it then. Thank you so much for answering all my questions
No
patiently.
worries.
Thank you so much.
I hope it helped.
Yeah, it really helped. Thank you.
No worries. Does anyone else have a question?
I have already put it in the chat box
Oh, let me just
earlier.
read it. Just give me a second. Okay, so if you're going as a research student and then converting to a regular student, your research and your masters will be taking place simultaneously. So you're getting, at the end, you're also completing your research while also getting your master's degree. So there's no like first your research and then your masters. And while you're conducting your research, suppose like I'll be giving the entrance exam in October this year. So suppose I don't clear the entrance in one go, then I'll get another try because my scholarship is for 2.5 years. So I can apply for my entrances or like any other college's entrance for a period, like you have 4 tries. So every 6 months you can apply. So ordinarily you would want to get in the first attempt, but they give you some leeway and you have 4 attempts to convert to a regular student. And in that case, your scholarship is extended once you convert to a regular student.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. So like
Yeah.
we do it simultaneously, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think
Like
Athar
who
was,
conducts the entrance exam?
the college does. The university will
Okay,
do it.
okay,
Yes.
okay, okay.
I
Uh,
have one more question.
yes.
So what were the exams that you had to undertake for the embassy application?
For the written exam, I had an English exam and a Japanese exam.
Okay, like was it Japanese exam? You had to study specifically for that. Like, was it like the JLPT
It
test
was it
or?
was up to N3 level, is what they ask.
Okay, so was it MCQs?
MCQ is some, yeah, it was mostly MCQs, yes.
Okay, and the English they test basic English or is it like IELTS level type?
I mean, it's pretty elementary for me. It was pretty easy. I only had to prepare for like about a day for the exam.
Okay, so it's fine if you don't have an IELTS or a GRE GMAT.
Yeah, it's
Sort
absolutely all
of,
right. But I think competitive exams like those give you an added edge. Like they also
right.
help you
Okay.
like, yeah, and they not only help you at the embassy screening stage, they also help you at the university screening stage.
So
Because at the
which is
university screening stage, you're
okay,
competing
okay,
with everyone else in the world who've been
right,
shortlisted by their embassies.
right. So GMAT is specifically for business schools, right? And GRE is for generally. So is it okay if I write a GMAT only?
Yeah, that's absolutely all right. And I think
Okay,
now
but that's
they
not
people
a
have like put,
requirement, right? It's just like an additional advantage.
yes, at the next screening stage. Maybe the entrance requirements will be something else. So you need to check with your university.
Okay, yeah. So other than the university requirements for MEXT, it's not compulsory or
It's
anything.
not at all, yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
No worries. Are there any other questions? Yeah, Atharva Karnik San.
Yes. You said that that we have to show that we have been consistent in the field, right? Of
Yes.
the research that you want to do. So my question is that what if like I have a degree in subject like chemistry or physics, but I want to pursue a master's in business administration, like an MBA. So
For
do they
that,
provide scholarship for that?
pardon, I lost you at the
No,
end.
like
Could you repeat?
do they provide scholarships in that case?
Um, Actually, I might not be. Uh, I think you need to have some because at least for Japan. So if you go to the website, you'll have. I'll just. I can share my screen for you if you all want that. A window. Mm. So this is the embassy website, the one I like, this is for the scholarship for research students. This is the one I applied for, and in it, the fields of studies are clearly mentioned. So you have to apply for something related to this. Apart from this, they also have a couple of other categories like STC, which is like the specialized training course. So you'll have to go through that. Again, I'm speaking from like purely like personal experience basis. So I can only like help you with things related to this section of the scholarship. So here you'll see that the fields of study are Japan-related humanities, Japan-related social science, which is what I applied for, like economics, maths and science, physics, chemistry, biotech, agri, fisheries, environmental science, pharmaceutical science, civil engineering, architecture, material science, and electrical engineering, electronics and communications and engineering, mechanical engineering, aerospace, robotics, IT, sports science. So this is for the research, because you can only go for fields in a research scholarship because you're going to be undertaking research in them. For something more practical, for like medicine and I think MBAs, etc., they have a separate section which I think you need to check. See, I think yeah. So I think there's a separate section which you need to check on the embassy.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think Tanmaya-san has it.
Yes. So, like, are there any courses related to Japanese culture or history or language, both in research studies and regular studies?
Yes, you have something called Japan-related studies. For that, you need, I think, at least an N1 level certification.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, you have to have an N1 level certification for that.
Was it like a properly different criteria or something?
Yes.
The one you mentioned right now?
Yeah, for if you want to study Japanese in Japan, then you need to have like the highest possible certification and also like some relevant so like I have a friend who got a MEXT scholarship for Japanese studies, and she had undertaken like she was studying Japanese at JNU for 3 years before she got the scholarship.
Okay, so was that only for language, like Japanese language, right?
Pardon? You mean you want to, if are you talking about the Japanese studies, like something to do with like Japanese literature or like Japanese like specific related, so like
Yeah,
for
Japanese history or Japanese culture.
in Japanese, then yes, you have to have N1 certification.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, I'm an art student, so I'm looking for some courses related to this for masters in Japan.
Okay, so what you can do is, because there is a section called Japan related humanities. So if it's something history and something like that, you can check the university website and see if they have any English courses available. And if they do have an English course available, then you can apply to those universities specifically. And in your research proposal, you can say that you want to like research something. And like I think they don't have scholarships available for like forms like kabuki and stuff. They don't give you a scholarship if you want to go and research that. But if it's something, as you said, you want to research Japan related history and something, so you can find a way which links India and Japan or something, and create like a proposal and check if there's any university which has an English course in that subject, and accordingly you can apply to that university.
Okay, so even as a regular student, we don't have like courses in Japanese culture or history.
No, they might just. That's what I'm saying. So you can, if you're looking for a course in English, then you need to check the university. You need to go to the specific university you're looking to study at and check their website and see if there's any English courses available. There's like on every university's website, there's a section for international students, which mainly lists the courses available in English. So once you go there, you can like explore a bit more and see what kind of courses are available, and whichever suits your like interest best, you can apply for that. Like keeping that in mind, you can draft like your research proposal or something.
Okay, and I'm also a BA student, so I'll probably receive my graduation certificate around July. So when do you think I should apply for MEXT?
This year then, because you'll need an entire year. So you can only leave for Japan next year.
Okay.
You can, in your application process, you can mention that you're yet to receive your degree. You haven't finished it yet. And then you can use your 12th
But like,
standard marks.
isn't it compulsory?
No,
Like
you
the
can
graduation certificate?
it's not compulsory. It's compulsory to submit it at a later stage, because a lot of people who've received the MEXT scholarship this year with me are still in class. Like they have classes going on right now. So they haven't received their graduation certificate yet, obviously. And when you're applying, you can see that in your third year or your second year of graduation. And by the time you do have to depart for Japan, you will have your graduation certificate.
Okay.
Yes. So if you have to
Thanks a
go
lot.
next, yeah. So if you're graduating this year, I think you should
Yeah.
definitely apply this year, because then you'll be wasting less time.
Really?
Yes, yes. Because the
Okay.
entire process takes about a year. So if you're graduating this year, you'll be going to Japan next April then, if you apply
I
right
didn't
now.
really like totally thought that graduation certificate is compulsory before applying.
No, no,
That's
it's
why.
really not. You don't need your graduation certificate to apply for this.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thanks a lot.
No worries. I think Sanjana-san has a question.
Yes. So you mentioned something about converting to a regular student after you get the passing certificate, right?
No, after you pass your entrance there. So after you get your passing certificate from the embassy, you take that and you apply to your university. And after the university accepts you, you take that acceptance letter, you send it back to the embassy, and then they give you like a final passing certificate based on which you are now a research student. Once you go to Japan, you will have about 2 years to give the entrances, etc. Or like you'd prefer to clear it in one go initially itself, so like the process is like smooth and like you don't waste a lot of time studying. So like I would prefer that I clear the exams in October this year. So then I convert to a regular student, and at the end of it, I'll get a degree. But as a research student, you don't get a degree. So you're going there, you're going to give your entrances, and then you convert to a regular student, which will allow you to receive a degree at the end of it.
So you mentioned something about entrance exams to take 2 years. I'm sorry, what is that about?
So the scholarship that you receive as a research student is for 2 years and 3 months. So within that period, they allow you about, I think you get about 4 attempts to clear the entrance exams. So you should like hope that you clear it in one go. But if you're unable to clear it in one go, you have about 3 more attempts.
These entrance exams are for the universities you're going into, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going, so as a research student, when you're departing as a research student. You're going there, you're going to work at your professor's lab, and you're going to conduct research. But if you want to get a degree at the end of it, like I want a master's degree, right? So I will go to, suppose like I'm going to Osaka University and I'm going to research there. So I will go to Japan, I will work with my professor. In the meanwhile, I'll give my entrance exam for my master's course. If I clear the entrance exam in one go, that's well and good. Then I convert to a regular student. But if I'm unable to clear my entrance exam, I have about 3 more tries, like 4 tries in total.
Okay, so the entrance
So like,
exam for
do
the
we have to
college you're in.
physically go there for the entrance exam?
I mean, yes, because it'll only happen once you reach Japan. You're going as a research student. Like I leave on the 4th of April as a research student. I will be staying there conducting research, and then I will be giving my entrance exam later when they open up. So my entrance exams take place in October this year, so I will be giving them then.
Okay. And suppose if I don't pass in like in one go, then how much time do I have to wait for the second attempt?
That depends on your university schedule. I think most courses have 2 intakes every year. So you have in all four attempts, because you have your scholarship for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So at suppose like I don't clear it in the first, second, or third attempt. In my fourth attempt, I clear it. Then my scholarship will be extended until the completion of my degree. Yes. I think Atharva San has a question.
Oh yeah, you said that you will be going as a research student, right? So
Yes.
that is like basically the equivalent of a PhD or like a
That's not
dissertation.
a PhD. Yeah, that's a dissertation. You're basically at the end of it, you'll have published something on contributed to the field that you want to work in. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
Yeah. Arya-san, right?
Scholarship, you also get a stipend, right? Does it include fees also, or it is different from
No,
fees and
you
everything?
don't have to pay any fees. The fees, you're as a MEXT student, you're exempt from all tuition. But your stipend is there for your living expenses. So your dorm is not covered, your food is not covered. So from your stipend, you have to pay for your dorms, your food, and basically everything else. Yes, Tanmaya-san.
Yes, can you earlier mentioned the written exams in Delhi? Can you please tell about it?
Yeah, so it's the Japanese and English exam, the language proficiency exam, where they test how if you're able to live and study in English. Like, so if suppose you're applying for, like, as an international student, it's expected that you study in English courses. You like the courses that you're going to be applying for will be in English. So for that, to test your, because as Indians, our first language is not English, right? So especially for Indians, they place weightage on your English exam marks. And secondly, the Japanese scores are to demonstrate if you can assimilate into the society there, how easily you will be able to live in Japan.
Okay, and do they only conduct it in Delhi?
Yes, it is in Delhi.
Okay, so not in Mumbai, right?
No, you'll have to go to Delhi.
Okay, okay.
Are there any other questions? I think we can move on to the next part of the session. I think Sarthak.
Actually, I have a
Hi.
question.
Uh, yeah, you can continue. I'll just join in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell a bit about the universities in Japan?
Sure. Is there any specific thing that you'd like to know?
No, I just wanted to know more about Tokyo University
So
because not
university,
much information is available about it.
no, you can actually visit their website as like every graduate school has a separate website and they explain everything, all of the requirements, application process, etc., in detail on their website. So there are in Japan there are two kinds of universities. One is your imperial or your national university, and there are private universities. I think imperial universities, like personally, are more sought like after, like they're more sought after because first they're harder to get into. They're harder to get into because their fees is lower, so it's more competitive. So most people prefer going there. But there are a bunch of really nice private universities as
Can you
well.
explain more? Oh, sorry, explain again about it. The imperial universities and national universities.
No, so they've been around forever. So which is why, so like I think University of Tokyo has been around for like 300 years or something. And yeah, so they been around forever since the time it was a. Hello, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, I just could hear myself. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so they are national universities, and then even there are some private universities which have been around forever, but they're not run by the state. Like they're not run by the government there. So so they are private universities, and the fees in private universities are much higher, which is why sometimes MEX prefers that you opt for national universities. But another thing is that national universities are higher in ranking, even on international rankings and within like the country domestic rankings as well. They're also doing better research in some fields. Like for me, I thought that Tokyo and Osaka had better research than Keio. So I had received an acceptance from both Keio and Osaka, and because I had panicked, I had applied to another university. So I had also received like an informal acceptance from Waseda. So, but I opted for Osaka because first it had better international reputation, and secondly, it was also undertaking a lot more research than the other two universities. This was
Okay,
just
got
my
it.
personal reasoning behind choosing Osaka.
So, like, have you been to Japan before?
Actually, I've never been to Japan, so this will be my first visit there.
Um,
Yeah.
but you
All right.
have to give the entrance exam there, right? Like physically, like in Mumbai.
Yeah, that's once you go there as a research student.
Ah, okay. So after that,
Yes, yes.
okay.
All right. Hi, Sarthak-san. Okay, let's move on to speaking with him now. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sensei. Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Sensei, you are muted. Sumimasen Sensei, you are muted.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was on mute. Am I audible?
Hi, Sensei.
Yeah. First of all, we would thank and say arigato gozaimasu to Madhura-san for such a valuable information. I'm sure her experience will help other students, to motivate and apply for the same. Arigato Madhura-san. And
Arigato gozaimasu.
arigato gozaimasu. And now we are so happy that we have two Fujiwara students selected for the same. So now Sarthak San, he's in Japan right now. So Sarthak San will also share his own experience. Dozo Sarthak San, Suzukete Kudasai.
Hi, arigato gozaimasu, Sensei. Minasan, arigato gozaimasu. Uh, as Madhura-san said that there are two ways for the to apply for the MEXT scholarship. The Madhura-san went through the embassy recommendation, whereas I went through university recommendation. I applied once I completed my BE in 2022. I immediately applied for the masters in Ritsumeikan University in Kyoto, and I got an admission over there. And then I went to Japan in September 2022. That is around 6 months ago. So when I applied to university had given me an option to apply for the MEXT scholarship along with my application. So I had applied at that time, and it depends from university to university that how many top students, university will recommend to the ministry. So if any of the university is ready to recommend you, then it's almost that you are getting the next scholarship. But that decision solely lies with the university. And how does university decide whom to recommend? They go through all of your documents, and there is some sort of I'm not sure about it, but there is some sort of point system. Like I have bachelor's degree, then I get this much points. Then if I have research paper published, then I get additional points. Then if I have JLPT certificate, then I get additional this much points. Like that, they accumulate your points, and then they make a list of students, and the top now my in my case, Ritsumeikan University had decided that they will recommend only one student per admission year to the ministry. Per academic year, only one student. So when I applied, I did not get the scholarship. MEXT university recommended, but MEXT did not accept the application. So later on, I started continuing as a private finance student, and later on, I got an email from the university that MEXT is going to reapply, open its applications in January. So if you want, then we can recommend you. So I said definitely, who would not like to get MEXT? So I applied via university recommendation. So university took my everything, like my again everything documents, my B transcripts and everything, and then they decided that I am eligible to apply. Then after I applied to the university, I asked university to recommend me. Then university decided to take an interview and then an exam. Rather, before an exam and then an interview. In that exam, it was everything just like in India, we have UPSC exams, which includes everything, but not tough as UPSC. But that exam was conducted by the International Center of my university. So, I was the only student who was appearing for that exam. So I went to the International Center. I appeared for that exam. I got a subsequent good score. So then the head of the international center one is the actual person who recommends me to the ministry. So he took me an interview, and to my fortune, I can say that person, his name was Professor Ito Takamoto. So luckily, my research professor is that same Professor Ito Takamoto. So I'm pursuing my master's course, and for my master's, that Mr. Takamoto is my professor. He's my guide. So he took me an official interview before writing me a letter of recommendation. Then he wrote a letter of recommendation, and then he sent it to the ministry. The application guidelines came out around December 2022, and the second after that in January the applications started, and they had declared that they will declare the result in first week of March. So even if university recommends me, it is not sure that I'll get the scholarship. So the decision finally totally lies with the ministry itself. Also happens. It does happen, and it happened with me that university recommended, and still I did not get the scholarship in the first go. But in the second go, university submits my current academic progress as well. So maybe on basis of that, the MEXT was ready to grant me a scholarship, and basically this is the scholarship that I have got is not the original MEXT scholarship that everybody applies for. It's a special project of Ministry of Education called Super Global University (SGU). In under that project, they are giving a scholarship to certain universities, to students of certain universities. Under that scheme, I have got the scholarship, and fortunately or unfortunately, that project is going to end in March 2024. That is exactly 1 year from now. So, and I have got that scholarship for 1 year, not for my entire duration of my courses, because now only my 6 months of master studies have been done. I have to yet complete my 1.5 year, but I am going to get that scholarship for only 1 year only, because that project itself is going to end. But still, it's a very and as Madhura sir said, it depends from university to university how many students to recommend, and how many and whom to recommend. So it's totally on your part that how better you perform in your academics and other tests like IELTS, GRE. It is not. I would again say that it is not compulsory to have IELTS or GRE to apply, because I did not give a single exam. Without giving a single exam, I was selected for this scholarship and even got an acceptance from university. So, but it definitely gives you an edge over the others if you have these scores in your hand. If I would have given that exam earlier, maybe I would have got it in the first go itself. Then I wouldn't have to spend these 6 months out of my own pocket. But better late than never. I realized it, and then due to my first semester scores, I got this scholarship. And this scholarship is, as you all know, it's the most prestigious scholarship, and it is very competitive. And in that scholarship, it's not that I get the scholarship, but every month I will be reviewed based on my every monthly attendance as well as my monthly performance. So they have given a scale that even after getting my scholarship, I should be consistent in my studies. So out of MEXT has a scale of 3 pointer. Out of that 3 pointer scale, I have to attain minimum 2.3 pointer. If I fail to do so, my scholarship will be revoked immediately. So it is not that once I get scholarship, I'm free to do anything, free to roam and free to get low grades. No, that's not the case. Even after getting scholarship, we are continuously monitored by the ministry about your academic progress and academic performance. So every month, my professor has to give a report. Being a head of the international center, he has to give a report to the ministry that this scholarship student is performing so, and he has to produce my grades, or my if grades are not published, then my total assignment publications and how much I've scored in that assignments. He has to submit that everything. So, and if you want to know how I applied to the university, that's quite a long process. As Madhura said, via embassy recommendation, it takes 1 year. And via university recommendation, it depends upon university. So you have to be extremely good on your part for to make university recommend you to the embassy. Yeah. So any questions? Yeah, Tanmay Samdozo.
Hi, Sarthak San. So the way you applied, is it like totally opposite of the like the embassy track? So like in the
Yes.
embassy track, you give MEXT first, and then you receive a
Yes.
certificate from the embassy in your country, and then you apply in Japan, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, got it.
But
Thank you.
this is as Madhura San said that first you apply to the MEXT, then you apply to the university, and then you get the admission. I did not do like that. I applied to the university first. I got an admission in university. I went to Japan. So
Yeah.
currently I'm in India for my holidays, but now I'm living in Japan since September, and next Saturday I'm leaving back for Japan. So
Okay.
what I did is I applied for the university first. I secured my admission, and then I asked university to recommend me to the embassy.
Okay. And like, what is the duration of the master's course there? Like, from which month to like?
Uh, Usually international in my university, that is Ritsumeikan University, international admissions takes place only in September. They don't accept it. But that means they accept very less international students in March intake. Usually in India, bachelors or that degrees get over around June, July. So the
Yeah.
earliest entrance you get is September. So that's what I did. I completed my bachelor's of engineering in June. I completed my exams in June. In August, the results were out, and in September, I went to Japan.
Okay. And then from September, what is the
Then from
duration?
from September 2022 to September 2024, the standard duration of master's course is 2 years.
Okay.
So, and applying for the university itself, it's a very different process. If you want, then you can anytime I am available on the group. You can message me, or we can have a call, and I can explain you in detail the process of applying directly to the universities.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Hi, Dozo Arya-san.
Yeah, you said that there are MEXT scores and you are reviewed every month. Is it on embassy track also? Like same?
Uh, I guess not, because before you get the scholarship via embassy, embassy takes an exam and sees your entire review, takes an entire review of your academic life until then. So mostly you don't have an every month academic review for this. And maybe I have this academic review of every month because it is just under special project of that government of Japan.
Yeah, and you said that this project is going to end on 2024. So will we be not to apply afterwards?
No, after 2024, this scholarship will be discontinued. Normal
Okay.
MEXT scholarship via university recommendation will be continued, but this special SGU, Super Global University project, will be terminated at that time itself. So
Okay.
even I can't extend my scholarship for next 6 months. Even if I want to, I am not allowed to extend because the project itself is ending.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Tanmay Sandozo.
Okay. So like, if I apply right now, like for next, then the academic year will start in September, right?
Not this September. See, if you are depends on when you want to go to Japan, or what you need. As Madhura-san said, if you applied for next in this April, then you will get the results in next March, as Madhura-san
Oh,
got. So Madhura-san applied for next in April 2022 opening, and she got the results now. And she's going in April 2023. So it requires almost 1 year if you go via embassy recommendation.
okay. So the whole
But
process takes around 1 year.
yes, if you go
Okay.
via embassy recommendation.
Okay. Got it. So like, if I apply now, then it will take a whole year.
Yes, and
Oh,
if you apply now for the next via embassy recommendation, then the earliest you can go is, I guess, April 2024. That
four.
time you can go
Okay.
to Japan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. I got it cleared.
But whereas I directly applied for the university, and my intake was in September, so their applications I went to the University of Ritsumeikan University website, and there I found that applications were open in December. So I applied in December 2021, and I got acceptance in March 2022. I got an result of that application in March, and then in September I went to Japan.
Okay.
Hi, Sanjana Sandozo.
So I don't know if you'd know this, but so the embassy intake, how long was the process for application? Like I know the results come out in March next year, but if let's say if I apply in April, how many months or weeks
See,
would it take for me to finish the whole process?
if you apply in April, they declare for first thing they do is they go through your preliminary documentation screening. So that documentation screening results are out around May or June, around something, and after that, around I guess Madhura-san would be a better person to guide on this, but I guess in June or July you have an exam that she talked about in Delhi, or and around August somewhere you get the results, and then from August you are expected to apply to the universities, and then in March you get finally the result that you have accepted this university and you are got the scholarship, you have received the scholarship, and then you can go in April. Like I think like that is the case. I guess Madhura-san would be a better person to talk about it.
Yeah, so basically from April to, I think the deadline for application is May 15. So once the application shut, they take about almost a month to review everyone's application, because I think they get about 2,000 applications every year for every category, UG, postgrad, and like for every category they take about like a month. So I think I got notified that I've cleared the preliminary screening on June 13th last year, and the application shut on May 15th. So I think it was just under a month. And on June 13th, they told me that I must come to Delhi for the exam. So the exam was held on 25th June, and I was notified of the results for the written exam, which was held on 25th June. On, I think it was notified within like 4 or 5 days. And after that, I think I had my interview with the embassy on the 1st or 2nd of July, and the preliminary screening results came out, I think, just about 2 or 3 weeks, and you had about a month to contact your university in Japan after that.
So both the exams are written in Delhi at the same time?
You mean English and Japanese?
Yes, yes.
Yes, they're held on the same day. It's in
Okay.
sections. Like first you have your English exam, after a break you have your Japanese exam.
So how many hours was it for each exam?
The English exam was for an hour, the Japanese exam was for 2 hours.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So any other questions?
I have a
Aidozo?
question. Yeah. So like I'm a BA student right now, right? So like I don't have my graduation certificate yet. So on what basis they will accept my like
See,
yeah
basically,
accept my application?
when
Yeah,
I
right.
applied to my university, I told them that I haven't graduated. So you have to provide a certificate of graduate expected graduation that you may get from your college, that this student is expected to complete his graduation. This is provided he gets earns all the credits. Like this, you get a certificate. So currently, actually, my results are out. I even received a provisional passing certificate from university, but till now, till today, I haven't received my bachelor's degree yet. So it's I have yet to receive, my convocation is yet to be held. So I haven't received my degree. So as soon as I receive my degree, I have to submit it to the university in Japan. So till
Oh,
then,
okay.
university provides me a provisional certificate that I have to apply to University of Mumbai, and I take that certificate and I have submitted it to Japan in my university. So that certificate mentioned that we will conduct the convocation soon, so he'll be getting the bachelor's degree soon. But he has passed the bachelor's degree. Like
So
that, the
do
certificate
colleges
is
provide
provided.
that certificate? Like colleges
He
in
is
Mumbai?
Yes, they too provide.
Okay.
I took my certificate from my college itself.
Okay. So still regarding this, can you just like WhatsApp me about it?
Sure.
Regarding
I
this
am.
certificate. Yeah.
Yeah, I am on the group. You can just I'll just put my number in chat box, and you
Hi,
can
hi.
ping me on WhatsApp.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot.
Hi, Sanjana Sandozo.
Are there any like tips that you can give us to work on our like credentials or something before we apply, like which we can improve our
Uh,
possibility of getting
before
in or
before
getting the
applying, uh,
next.
be, yeah, before applying, as Madhura-san said that having GRE or GMAT or IELTS or TOEFL is not necessary. I am again saying it is not at all necessary because I also did not give any of the exam, but it is always beneficial to have it on your part because embassy also it is not, I'm not sure, but I think embassy also has a point system that if you have this certificate you get this much points, if you get this certification you get this much points, and then having at least N5, according to Japanese N5 is very low, but having a certificate would always be beneficial on your part. So even if everywhere, whether you apply to the MEXT or university directly, you have to present your CV or resume when you apply. And if in that you have a written JLPT certification or IELTS score or GRE score or TOEFL score, it definitely gives you an edge. So having those scores in hand before applying is very much recommended. And another thing is, as Madhura-san said, research should be what exactly is the situation in Japan and how it would benefit both the countries, Japan as well as India. So, luckily, my bachelor's was done in mechanical engineering. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I had my interest in strength of materials or sort of material science. So currently in Japan, while pursuing my master's, the research I'm doing on is on the research of Shinkansen, that is the bullet train. The bearings that are used in wheels of bullet trains, I'm doing research on that material. So it is, and as you know, in India, bullet train is taking a rise. So saying that it would be beneficial to India and getting a knowledge of bullet train, for getting a knowledge of for bullet train, Japan, there is no country better than Japan. Like that, if I state it gives me an edge over the others.
Okay, makes sense. I actually like your research topics. Very interesting.
Yes, thank
Uh,
you.
so right now, like I have an N2 certificate which I did in December, and I did like a few internships here and there. So do you think I have a better chance than other people? I mean, I don't have my research topic yet, but
Uh,
comparatively
See,
with the three.
basically, you when you apply for MEXT, having at least it's not necessary to have an entire clear idea, but having somewhat clear idea is very much recommended because you anyway, as Madhura-san said, you have to write your research essay or SOP, as we say, something related to your research. So you should have an idea about what you're going to research. What is this position of that research in Japan? Like that, you have to have an idea. So if you don't have any idea, then you should start working on your research topics. You should search on what topics uh, you have interest in, and you should get some information about what is the situation in Japan about that particular topic.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Dozo.
Like, can you tell about Tokyo University? Like, I've heard that not many international students get their admission there.
Yes, actually, as Madhura-san said, along with application applying to Ritsumeikan, I had applied to other couple of universities as well, like Waseda, Osaka, Kyoto, and these are the top three. Even Tokyo Institute of Technology, TI Tech, not the Tokyo University, Tokyo Institute of Technology, and then Kyoto University of Advanced Science. These are the couple of universities that I had applied for, but that depends upon the faculty there under which you have to pursue your masters. So just like for the bachelor's, we have one guide. For BE project, we have one guide. So like that for entire duration of masters, you have one guide. You have to choose your professor first, and then you have to apply. So that depends totally upon professors. So, and I did not apply for Tokyo University. So I guess website would be the better way to know about it more.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions? Okay, thank you so much everyone for attending this seminar and listening to our
Yes,
Madhura-san's guidance. And
yes, Gaksitachi. So it will be an end of the webinar, and I'm sure you must be having so many questions more. But I would request you to please, you can even WhatsApp Madhurasan and Sarthak San if any kind of help you want. I'm sure
definitely.
they will be helping you. And again, once again, thank you very much for participating and showing your interest. And we all thank Madhura San and Sarthak San to give their such a valuable experience and time to us. I'm sure their experience will help other upcoming students to, easy to apply for the scene.
Arigatou
Guidance for
gozaimasu,
applying for the
Sarthak-san.
scene.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
So, arigato gozaimasu, and we again congratulate and say wish them all the best for future also.
Omedetou
And
gozaimasu.
omedetou gozaimasu. Thank you so
Arigatou
much.
gozaimasu, minasan.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you so much, Nasan. Arigato gozaimasu. Okay, so we end the session, Nasan. Sayonara. Hi. Sayonara, minasan.
Arigatou gozaimasu,
Sayonara.
Kumi-sensei.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Sensei, いつ日本に来ますか？
私多分ね、5月の25日に日本に行くつもりです。東京と箱根だけですけども。
東京と箱根ね。関西の行かないね。
はい、今回は関西行かないんですけれども、関西も行きたいんですって、奈良とか広島とか。でも、
はい、
今回は東京、
僕は12月の26日から29日まで奈良、東京と東京。
そうですか。いいね。私も行きたいんですよ。どうしてって言えば、
はい
去年の11月にも、東京と、箱根だけ行きましたから、奈良とかね、久しぶりですけど、奈良、大阪、神戸行きたいんですね。
はい。けど、関西の行きたいんですけど、はい、教えてください。
はい。もちろん、サルテクさんにもお知らせします。私、2月に札幌に行きました。
はい。
ビデオ見ましたか？
私は写真を見ました。はい。
はい。それもすごい、私、札幌初めて行きました。
あなたたちは札幌に行きましたね。そんな僕、インドに行きました。帰りました。
そうですか、その時。はい。でも本当にいい経験になりましたね。楽しかったんです。
2月の11日に帰りましたけど、今、次の土曜日に戻ります。
そうですか。じゃあ頑張ってくださいね、サルテクさん。私、日本に行くとき、サルテクさんにね、必ず連絡しますから、日本で会いましょう。
はい、もちろん会いましょう。はい。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございますね、サルテクさん。All the best。頑張ってください。これからも。
ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとう。
失礼します。
失礼します。お疲れ様でした。さよなら。失礼します。Thank you.